This is a 150-gallon tank built into the wall. This is one of my regular customers, and the tank gets serviced every other week. After we've laid down some towels to catch any drips and spills, we can bring the coral decorations in. Yes, this is a fish-only system, and as such, I use the dead coral skeleton decorations that are bleached every other week and rotated in and out of the tank every other week for that nice, bright look. This is a former reef tank, so the lighting is of the metal halide style. It's an enclosure that holds two 250-watt metal halide bulbs, along with a pair of high-output actinics. So it's time to get down to work, ready to roll our sleeves up and get our arms wet. Oh, hold it, no sleeves. And here's the top of the tank and the access that we have into it. Note it's an acrylic tank and it has two large openings on top. We'll use the styrofoam box that I brought the new clean corals in to place the dirty, dripping wet corals into. In addition to cleaning the inside of the tank as well as rotating the dirty set of corals out, we're going to perform a 10-gallon water change. And so this is the Wet Dry Trickle Filter. You can see here there's the bioball section back there, protein skimmer section up front, and the open sump end where the heater and the carbon bags lie. There's a little giant water pump and the discharge that leads back up to the tank. So I want to take a moment and clarify a few things. I've gotten some feedback, whether it be various forums or emails or the messages that some of the YouTube people have sent. There are many, many ways of accomplishing biological filtration, stemming from the simple under gravel filter to a power filter or a canister filter that hangs on the back. Maybe even one that sprays water over a pleated wheel that spins in the air. The more common is what we'll call a wet dry trickle filter, and its counterpart, we'll call it the Euro style open sump. Now there's a number of hobbyists out there who are big proponents of the European style sump, which basically has no biological filtration to it at all. And the reason behind that is typically that type of a filter is used on a living coral reef tank, where the coral reef tank is full of live rock, and that in itself is a biological filter. The sump portion of that kind of an application would really be meant for holding a protein skimmer, holding bags of carbon. A lot of these Euro-style people will actually put live rock down in that sump. What I don't understand is those who are big proponents of live rock in the filter below, why they're so against the wet dry trickle filter. The wet dry trickle filter, and I've said this before, is probably the greatest product to enter into the aquarium hobby since the under gravel filter, and nothing really as significant has come along in over 25 years. It was back in the George Smit days when the Dutch aquarium system spiral with the sprinkler head came to America, and it's had a little bit of an improvement to basically a chamber with bioballs in there, but nothing significant or as significant has been introduced into the aquarium hobby since. And really, what's wrong with a wet dry trickle filter? Not only does it have a tremendous amount of surface area via all those little bioballs inside there. But at the same time, as that water drops and splashes all over those bioballs, it's exposed to tremendous amounts of oxygen. So the Wet Dry Trickle Filter is a very capable, very qualified biological filter. The only thing I have against it would be if you don't pre-filter it well, and I tend to sometimes not pre-filter stuff as good as I should, it ends up with a lot of debris in it. But these hobbyists that come along and scoff at the Wet Dry Trickle Filter, my assumption is that their whole exposure to the aquarium business is their one little tank at home and whatever experiences they've come from it. The Wet Dry Trickle Filter eliminates a lot of issues that live rock presents. Namely, live rock, being live, if you end up in a situation as a fish-only tank, not a coral reef, but as a fish-only tank, I can see the natural benefits from it. But if you end up with parasites, or worse yet, some bacterial or viral infection, the medications that you're going to put into that tank are going to kill all the life on that rock. And so I don't see why these people are so anti-Wet Dry Trickle Filter. It just doesn't make sense to me. In my business and in my experience, I have to use not only what is the simplest, what is the most reliable, and what is not going to present itself as problems down the road for other situations. So I have no problem with a Wet Dry Trickle Filter. Now I want to clarify. This and many of my tanks are what I'll call fish-only systems. They don't have living corals in there. They don't have invertebrates in there. So there's no real need to introduce live rock into the system. As I mentioned, live rock comes with an abundance of life, and it's a very good, capable biological filter. But the fact that you would, if you have to introduce medications, are willing to kill off that life just for the fact of having live rock in there to create that natural environment is not thinking very far ahead. So I'm going to firmly say that in a fish-only system, I don't think you can beat a Wet Dry Trickle Filter. And those that want to go with the live rock route, fine, go right ahead. It's your tank, not mine. The ones I take care of, I need to be bulletproof.
Okay, let me step on down off my soapbox, but if you can deal with more of the same, come on back for part 2 as I discuss more about live rock and artificial decorations.